Sanam Aloha, welcome to the live stream today. I just want to make sure that I'm on, that you can hear me clearly here. Okay, great. So as you know, I don't usually do live streams on Sundays. I usually do them on Fridays, but I was really called today because this week is going to be really, really intense. And are people feeling it? Are you feeling the energy? Put that down in the chat. Let me just get the comments up to make sure that everybody's here. Great. So just put down your human design type if you know it in your astrology information. That would be great so you can share that with other people. Okay. So yes, heavy, very old patterns, hopefully clearing, Jennifer says. Looking forward to this. Thank you, Michael. The energy seems as heavy as I've felt in a long time, almost like the anticipation or intuition of something coming. Yes, 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 yes. We can all appreciate that. And it may be affecting your sleep. I know it's affecting my sleep schedule as well. Getting up at 3:30, that's always a sign that your soul is waking you up. It's like, come on, get on your mat, get on your couch, right? Get on the floor. It's time to listen. So what I do is I get up and I meditate, and then I go back and I have I call it a second nap, and I have my second sleep, and then get up at 8 o'clock or whatever. Okay. Scenic Rook Aloha, Michael and everyone. 3-5 generator, emotional authority. Thank you, Michael, for sharing your work lately. Have been working through the Sleeping Phoenix webinar. Great. Yeah. Okay. Really heavy. Yeah, we're all feeling it. I feel better today. Yes, and this is why I wanted to do a live stream, because things are going to come to a screeching halt around Tuesday. But right now we're still in this Venus trine Jupiter energy, so everything's great, right? And moon's in Aquarius, so it's flitting around and things are awesome, but that's about to change. And that's what's so great about learning about transits, you know? You can see the bad weather that's coming. So what I say too with people is, because people can feel victimized by even astrology and human design, is just to remember that it's just like weather. It's like, okay, it's good to know that it's going to be raining tomorrow so that I can prepare and have an umbrella, you know? So it's like this, like preparing for heavy duty transits. Okay. So let's talk about this Venus opposed Chiron, and that's happening tomorrow. So remember I did the Mars, right? Mars squaring the nodes and the lunar eclipse, those two videos you want to watch. And then if we don't need any more information that this is all about our relationships, we have Venus in opposition to Chiron. So remember in human design that Chiron isn't part of the activation, like in your natal chart, right? Even if you can get a natal chart in human design, you can get Chiron included, but it will never be activated on the body graph here, right? But it's worth taking a look at, right? Chiron, because it shows us our deepest wounding. And so you can see here, okay, there's Chiron and the 22nd degree, and it's opposing Venus and Libra at the 22nd degree. And 22nd degree, that correlates to Capricorn, So this can bring up emotions or wounding that's been repressed, right? That's been repressed, deeply repressed. That's what's coming up, right? All this week is about a purging. It's about a deep purging, and it's about letting go. It's letting go, and it has to do with our relationships. And you can see Black Moon Lilith is getting really close to the South Node. That's the dark feminine, right? And then Mars is coming close to 6 degrees, and that's going to be the squaring of the nodes that I talk about. And then, of course, the lunar eclipse on Tuesday. So this is a good transit for us to look at, right? Okay, so you can see here that we've got conflict. The sun is in the shadow of conflict down here, gate 6. It's the gate of friction, right? Friction that I talked about in that last video that I did. And then we'll look at Venus, which is in 50, or that's Mars, sorry. I got Mars on the brain. 32.2 is Venus, right? And that's up here, right? Off the spleen, right there. So wherever you have, so you want to check out if you've got any of these gates activated in your natal chart, because you're going to learn more about your own human design if you follow my channel. Right, so there's the 32. So wherever you have anything activated in the spleen, it correlates to a deep fear, right? So the deep fear here with the 32 is failure, right? Was failure. That's the 33 or the 32. Okay, and then it's going to be opposing Chiron, which is 42, right there, right? So 42 isn't activated, but that's where Chiron is sitting. So let's look at this to get more information about all this, what all this is about. So there's Chiron and the key. I love that this is a symbol of the key because its orbit is really interesting, Chiron. If you've done my Chiron wound online retreat or did the webinar that I did last year or 2 years ago, I can't remember now, but it's a key, and it's orbits between Saturn and Uranus. So it's really a major, and it was discovered in the 1970s, right? And this is when the birth of the New Age movement started. The inner child work, or the shadow work, all of that really started in the 1970s and became mainstream. And it's the key. It's a bridge, right? It's a bridge for us. So let's see this 42 right here. So the 42 comes off the sacral. Here. So this is your life force energy. And it's defined if you're a manifesting generator or a generator. That means you're an energy type. Okay? But it has to be colored in. Okay, but the 42 is the gate of growth. It's called the gate of growth. The gate of growth. And it's collective. Remember that each channel or gate is collective, tribal, or individual. So it's collective, 42. And this is having the staying power to complete something. So it's about beginning new cycles. The 42 53 channel here, it's all about cycles. It's like beginning cycles. So having the staying power to complete the cycle, to see something through. So what it's doing is you're accumulating. If you look at yourself as a little kind of cog in the wheel, like you're a little cog, and then there's the collective humanity, and we're all playing our parts, right? Within that wheel, we're a little cog in the wheel. And what we're doing is we're learning through our experiences, right? And then we share with others. So this is the 100th monkey theory, if you've heard of that. It's like if one breaks through the morphogenic field, one learns something new, then it benefits all of the rest of the species. So it's the same with humans. If one human breaks the 1 minute mile, then suddenly everybody can, not everybody, but other people can do the same. Right? Before the 1 minute mile was broken, nobody could do it. Right? As soon as it just takes one person to break through that morphogenic field for humanity, and then others. We all have the potential to break the 1 minute mile, is what I'm trying to say. So this is kind of what the 42 is about, the gate of growth, right? So that we can share our experience at the energetic level, right, with the collective, with the human collective. And this is the one thing that we're realizing, right, with the unity consciousness, just as a side note, in the solar plexus mutation, is that we're one human organism, we're all connected, right? We're all connected. So with this gate of growth, as each cycle builds on the lessons learned from the past, and that ensures growth. So if you have the 42, then this is definitely part of your design, right? And so this is what it means to be a human, what it means to be alive. So it's about learning from our experiences. And it's also about, we're going to be talking a lot about resources today. So that's why it's the gate of growth, right? It's like, do I have the right resources? Do I have enough resources to go on this next leg of the journey? Because we're closing up a cycle. This is what people are feeling. It's like something is closing. We all feel this at the cellular level. Something is coming to a close. A chapter is ending. Maybe a whole book is ending for you, and a whole new book is beginning. And this is this anticipation. And there can be dread, because the dread is about the fear of the future, right? The fear of the future. And we humans are not too good at that. We want security, right? We want security. Okay, so is there enough resources here? And then it's line 2, right? So it's 42.2. If I go back here, well, it's 32.2, right? So Chiron, a direct opposition, will be 42.2. Right, so let's go back here. So it's 42.2, the gate of growth. And this is called identification. Identification here. So you don't know whether it's a projection, right? It's a projection. So whenever you see second line, automatically you're going to see projection. So if you have this natally, say your profile, you have a second line profile, which is Hermit, then you project out something, whatever that number is before the 2, that's what you project out. You project out, and this is what people see. So this is a projection that you have the resources. That you have the resources. So you're going to be seeing this in your relationships. That person is projecting that they have the resources that I need. Now, if they have the resources, well, that's a different story. They may not have the resources at all, right? These are the people that are in like extreme debt. But no, it's a big secret. They're like in extreme debt, but they're running around like they're successful. Like they got the fancy car and the fancy clothes and the living way beyond their means, basically, right? But they're projecting out that they have the resources, when in truth they don't, right? So this may or may not be true in terms of your relationships Okay. But right away, the projection will be that that other person that you see has the resources. That's the projection. Whether it's true or not, that's a different story. And that's why you have to go to the details. Remember what I talked about? The 17.2, the North Node is getting the details, getting the facts, right? This is an opinion, right? Opinion that person has the resources. They're the safe route for me, right? The safe route for me to go with. And this is finding out. You hear this in relationships, right? The partner dies, and then the spouse learns, like, oh my God, that my partner was like a gambler, addicted to gambling, wasted all their money, left me nothing, left me their debt, actually, right? This is like the big surprises that can happen in relationship. Okay, so there's that. Okay, so that's Chiron here. And Chiron, the placement of Chiron is, because what is it, 22 degrees. It's 22 degrees. So 22 degrees, that's the last decan of Aries. And this correlates to the 4 of Wands. The 4 of Wands right here. Okay, so that's home and that's relationship. And these are the twin flames. That's why 1111, if you see 1111 a lot on your clock over and over again, there's a message being sent to you, right? It represents the twin flame. It's the universe communicating to you. And you can see the 4 of Wands here. And why is it the 4 of Wands? Because the 4 of Wands correlates to Venus and Aries. Venus and Aries. These were not picked intuitively, these cards. And there we go. I talked about this with the Mars and the Mars squaring the nodes. Here we go. Here's our divine counterpart, the Emperor and the Empress. And this is the divine feminine, right? And the divine masculine. Masculine and the feminine here. Right? So this, Chiron. So there's a lot of wounding. That's what this is saying, because Chiron is activating this, right? So this is wounding around being in a healthy, spiritual, deeply spiritual relationship, right? There's wounding here that has to be addressed. And so if you even take this back just to yourself, right? Right? Is to look at your own relationship with your masculine energy and your feminine energy. What's your relationship with those energies? We have both of them. It doesn't matter what form you were born into, right? Your masculine energy or your feminine energy. Chiron is showing you that you may be out of balance, right? To come back into balance. The cross of the sleeping phoenix, new relationships are you're whole onto yourself. This means that your divine masculine and your divine feminine energies are in balance within you, right? So we're no longer going to be learning through polarity in the future. We won't need male, we won't need female, my senses will be an androgynous species, right? We won't need to learn through polarity anymore. So you want to look at your relationships, right? So if you have a relationship with a wounded masculine, what does that mean? That he's not in his masculine, he's not in his divine masculine energy, he's more in his feminine energy. So what does that mean? There's always a balance, right? So that means that you are more in your masculine energy. He's more in his feminine energy. You're in more of your masculine energy, and you're out of balance. The two of you are out of balance. So how relationships work is the woman's. How does that work again? my mind is difficult to go into left brain when I'm doing this. But basically, you're attracted, right? You're attracted to the opposite, right? The opposite of the other. So if a woman was balanced in her feminine energy, she wouldn't be attracted to a man that was more in his feminine energy. It just doesn't work, right? So you have to look at okay, I've got a wounded masculine in my energy. And it could be not just your romantic relationship, but your friendships or your siblings or workmates or things like that. So this would be someone who's not direct, right? Not assertive, right? Can't act, right? Doesn't act, right? Take action, not disciplined, just things like that. Those are traits of a wounded masculine, more in their feminine. Then this is going to show you, right? So Chiron, Venus, you have to look at this as a mirror. Your relationships are a mirror, and they're showing you what needs to be healed. So it's something you're going to complain about, right? In your partner or other people. I wish he would just make a decision. I wish he would just be decisive. Why do I have to make all the decisions in the relationship? He's wishy-washy, right? Whatever you want to do. He doesn't take charge. Well, then you got to look at you. It's okay, where am I not trusting in my feminine energy? Where am I not seeing the power in my feminine energy? Where am I not letting things come to me as the feminine, things like this? I don't trust. I got to go out and make everything happen, right? So that's a way to look at it too, with this Venus opposed Chiron. But just, my advice is and guidance is just to bring it all back inside, and really ask this question: am I in balance? Are my masculine and feminine energies in balance. And this week is going to show you, right? Through your relationships, so that I can move ahead, right? So the divine masculine would be like, yeah, I'm going to make that leap. I'm going to go into that next chapter of my life because I believe in myself. I believe that I can manifest this. I'm not talking human design types, right? I believe that I can be direct. I believe in myself. I believe in my soul, that I can handle. I have the confidence. That's divine masculine. I have the confidence that I can handle whatever life brings me. I just have that confidence. I'm assertive. I don't go belly up, right? Or my divine feminine is I trust that I can attract, right? That I can attract. I have so much self-love and self-value, right? I have this. I trust my nurturing, right? My nurturing. I'm able to take care of myself and nurture myself, right? That's Venus. And attract. So, and the divine masculine with the Chiron, because Chiron is in Aries, is like just like your identity, right? So maybe an old identity has to go too this week, like that's no longer serving you any longer. Some identity that you've been playing since childhood that doesn't serve you anymore. This is about being assertive. So all those repressed emotions are going to start to really rise up. All those resentments, the buried resentments, all the things that you didn't say at the time, which can be years worth. This is all your relationship can really come out now. Yeah. So remember it's the 52. Mars is in the 52, and that's to remain still and restrain, which I find really interesting because Venus is activating the Four of Swords on the other side. And so this is the gate. There we go, the 32 coming off the spleen. This is the gate. This is the gate of duration. It's the gate of duration. So this is about, what am I going to keep? Imagine you're going on a road trip where or you have to leave your home. For some reason, you have to leave your home, like immediately. There's a fire or some kind of catastrophe, right? It's like, what are you going to take with you? What do I value? Venus. What do I value? What will I take with me? And what do I leave behind? That's what 32 is saying. You're going on a journey, and what do you leave behind? So you've got to really look at your relationships. And there's so many pointers that you're being supported in that, right? To see the truth. So this is the gate of duration, and this is, it's conserving. It's conserving material. So there's a real emphasis on the material with this opposition. So this is conserving. So remember, this is a transit, right? You've got your own natal chart. So if you have these, right? If you've got the 32, right? If you've got the 32.2 and the 42.2, then yeah, this is applicable to you. But if it's not, it's a transit. So it's just to remember that, I'm under a transit field right now. I'm under a conditioning field, but I can use and harness this energy, right? To get to my authentic self. Because that's the whole point, is to get to your authenticity, and that's your soul, right? That's your soul. So this is what people will want to be doing. They'll want to be conserving material resources. So this is when people go into fear. They want to conserve. They want to hold back. They get stingy, right? The 32 is all about money. It represents money, right? Out of all the gates, the 64 gates, the 32 represents money, the actual physical money. So it's holding this fear. I've got to cling, right? I have to cling. And it's deeply related to cellular memory. So it's ancestral. It goes back to our ancestors. So this conservative can be healthy too. It's like, okay, I'm not going to go and spend a ton of money on this thing that I don't really value, that's not going to have a long life, right? The 42 and the 32. It's not going to appreciate in value in the future. Then yeah, I'm going to conserve a little bit. Like that's healthy. But when it gets too much out of balance, and it's like you're not changing with the times. And the example was, remember when the DVDs came out, the DVDs at Blockbuster, right? And then the Netflixes started coming, right? This would be like Blockbuster holding on. Well, I'm going to hold on to this the way things have always been. I'm not going with the times. So this is what this transit is also telling you. It's like, what do you need to let go of? What are you clinging to? Because this is about the past. This is your ancestors. We live in a different time now than your ancestors, right? So then what's really interesting is 32.2, and it's the keynote of restraint. Just like the Mars, right? That's the gift of Mars in the 52 is restraint. So this is being in control of the resources. So maybe you're in a relationship where somebody is controlling the resources, controlling the money, what gets spent, what gets spent and what on, right? And this is the danger of becoming too dependent. This is codependent on your partner for resources, for money, is because you got to deal with this bullshit, right? They control the purse strings. Nothing is free, right? The ego will make you think that because the other thing too, I just love these transits, man. They make so much sense to me. So there's the moon activating the 37. This is direct when it's direct, right? It's a direct opposition. There's the 37. That's the mother. This is the channel of community that's getting mutated. This is a major player in the cross. It's like one of the main pillars of the cross of planning. The last 400-year cycle is breaking down. This is breaking down. And 37 is the gender roles, right? So that worked at a time, right? You stay home and you take care of the kids, clean the house, do all that, do all the nurturing. You play the female role, and I'll run out and play the male role, and I'll go out and be the breadwinner, right? And come back with the bread. This isn't going to work anymore. This is tribal. This is being mutated. And we're seeing this more and more with more and more women like going out into the workforce. So this is letting go, right? Like what I see here is letting go of a lot of old ancestral patterns of the way things used to be. And that's what this is. This is like holding on to what used to work with this conserving, right? Conserving and restraining and not growing and evolving, because the 42 wants you to go into a whole new cycle, right? So it's going into the, and you get stuck in these roles in your relationships. You can get stuck into these roles. And usually it's one that takes care of the money in relationship, right? And so this is all about control, right? So you're in your terms of your relationship, you're either controlling or you're the one being controlled. And this is coming to a head, right? All that resentment of maybe being controlled in exchange for a bargain, right? The tribal consciousness, that's coming to a head here. So that's the 32 and the 42. And remember, it's all about money. It's all about money. So there's this thing, right? And what's the deepest fear here is I need relationship to survive. I need a relationship to survive. And this person over here, I really feel like they've got all the resources. I'm going to go with them, right? I'm going to go with them. It can be completely incorrect for you at this time. This is not, do not make your decisions from money, because when you make your decisions from money, you're making decisions from fear right now. Right now, it's about putting all your chips. If you're a gambler, put all your chips on God and the divine. That's where you put all your chips in your faith in. Okay, so Four of Swords. What does Four of Swords say? He's chilling. She's chilling, right? Swords are down. Swords are down. I'm chilling. I'm reflecting. Do you see this is not a time for taking action? It's a time for seeing. It's time for self-reflection. It's time to go internal. It's time to get off social media, to get off Netflix, get off your phone, turn it off, and it's time to be silent and be on your own and to reflect this week. That's the best use of your time, right? Because remember, it's like imposed restraint when I talked about the Mars squaring the nodes. So, right, the car will break down, things will happen, and don't fight it. It's like, oh, the universe is telling me I need to stop. I just need to stop and to reflect, right? Because I'm about to move forward, right, in this next chapter. And then this correlates to Libra with this Justice card, and then Jupiter and Libra here, right here. And this is Justice, and I talked about this. These are those karmic relationships, karmic contracts are coming to an end. And the Wheel of Fortune, you can't stop the wheel. The wheel is moving. These karmic contracts are ending now. And so we're going to see this, right? So Venus is showing us this here. Things are coming into balance. And you know, if you've ever left a karmic soulmate, because they're soulmates, karmic soulmate connection, it's like you're under a spell. That's how I see it and experienced it myself. That you're under a spell. You can't see that person clearly. You can't see the dynamics clearly. But they come with a lot of emotions. They have emotional charge, right? When that Wheel of Fortune comes, right, and that karmic contract is ended, you learn the lesson, because this karmic soulmates come in to teach you a lesson, an important soul lesson, right? That it's like the lights come on. Suddenly you see that person clearly, and it's like, oh, I can't believe I didn't see this before. I'm finally seeing them, and then you can't unsee it. Once you see it, then you can't unsee it, and then it's really easy to know what actions to take. Right? So this lunar eclipse time this week is about just seeing. It's about seeing the 17, right? The North Node. It's about seeing in truth, right? Not about taking action or resisting. And that's why the energy is telling you to stop. It's time to see. Okay. And then let's look at Vulture with these cards. And so the Vulture, because each one of these numbers of the 64, they also correlate to an animal, right? So there's the Vulture. And the Vulture is really interesting. And Vulture is air, right? It's in the air. Vulture. So the Vulture, I'm reading from the book because I just got these cards like last week, so I'm not super familiar with them yet. So this is the Guardian, the Purifier, and it's essential for rebalancing. And the Vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one wants to do and cleans up our messes. The Vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or back into balance. Remember, the Vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or a tragedy is a blessing in disguise. And so what I would say here, it's about the lesson, right? So you don't go into the ego. It's like, why didn't I see this dynamic before? I allowed that person to walk all over me. Suddenly I see what they're doing. I see their actions. I'm looking at the details now, the 17, right? But this is the gift. It's like, what did I learn? What did I learn? What did I discover about myself in this relationship? There's going to be a major soul lesson that comes with karmic soulmates. Major soul lesson. And it's going to relate to this, right? On the other side there. Okay, so what you thought was a tragedy or a mistake is a blessing in disguise. All your relationships have a spiritual purpose. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been with them. So when in balance, the vulture clarifies and reveals wisdom. When out of balance, there's drama, right? There's drama and there's aggression. There's aggression. So Chiron and Venus here are teaching us to express anger in healthy ways, right? Because there's no way you're going to not be able to avoid communication this week in your relationships. So it's, how do I express anger in a healthy way? How do I stand up for myself in a healthy way, right? Which doesn't mean that you don't have emotions when you're talking. You're just not ruled by them. You channel them, right? You channel them. You channel the emotions. And it doesn't have to be super scripted and sound really sweet and nice and you've got it all together. Your job, right now is to speak the truth. Speak the truth. Speak the truth, right? That's your job, is to speak the truth. That truth is a frequency that wants to move through you. And that's why your throat chakra can start pounding and you can feel a bit panicky before you speak the truth, especially if you're not used to it. If you're not used to speaking from your emotions, that you've been repressed and numbed out for so long, this can be it's a learning. It's an opportunity to learn, to speak the truth. Okay, so to bring this into balance, and you can do that this week, is to clean your space. Clean your space, either energetically, like physically clean your space, like declutter your space, or use sage, right? Or some other incense, anything like that can clear your space. This will help with this energy. So that's where Venus is. So the value here is to stop and reflect, right? Go inward, not outward. It's about all going inside, going inside, going inside. Okay, and then if we go over to the Four of Wands, so that's home. The Four of Wands is home. It's, where did I put those cards? Okay. There they are. I've cleaned my space too. Yesterday I got so inspired. It's all that Virgo energy, right? It's like I cleaned my office out now. You can't find anything. Okay. So the Four of Wands here, well, this is the twin flames, like I told, right? The divine feminine and the divine masculine. Those are the twin flames coming into balance. So this is also about your community. It's about your home. It's about feeling at home, like feeling at home, and within your relationships, right? And remember that I talk about fractal lines. These are the 144,000 templates. And you belong on one of these 144,000 templates, one of them. So if you're into me, like you like the sound of my voice and you really get what I'm communicating, then you're probably on my fractal line, right? So we all belong on a fractal line. So that's what this Four of Wands is too. Is like, what fractal line do I belong to? Because when we're talking karmic soulmates, we're not talking about the same fractal line. They're on a different fractal line than you. That's why there's so much conflict, right? And there was a purpose for this with the cross of planning. It was to bring in the diversity of the DNA, like make the babies, diversity, and also to clear out ancestral karmic patterns, right? When you're on different fractal lines. But this is different with the Chiron. So there's wounding here. What do you mean? I'm in a relationship that's like supporting my spiritual journey, right? That's I'm not used to that. I'm used to fighting and battling and conflict, right? In my past relationships. Well, there can be wounding that comes up around that, right? So it's about harmony, joy, and abundance. It's about being around supportive friends and family. So this isn't your romantic, just your romantic partnership, but your family. So your family of origin, you could be on a different fractal line than them. That's the cross of planning. Cross of planning is it's all about your family. That's where you belong. Your blood. Your blood, that's what you belong. That's your physical, is blood, right? The fractal line is like, no, it's spiritual. What's your spiritual blood? That's where you belong. So you could be in a family of origin. They're on a different fractal line than you, right? But you've incarnated within that family of origin to be the black sheep, to alchemize those patterns, right? Okay, so that's the Four of Wands. And then I talked about the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So there can be wounding around your masculine energy. Like, I feel like I can't take care of myself. I have to rely on somebody else to take care of me, right? So you want to be digging that up. Or I have to behave in this way, right? So if my feminine is wounded, that doesn't mean you go superficial. It's like, I'm going to wear a bunch of frilly dresses and, get lipstick and wear high heels. That's not going to heal your feminine. This is like an internal process, right? A deeply internal process of tapping into your feminine power, right? So there can be a lot of insecurity if your feminine is wounded. You can be overbearing, smothering, lacking growth, not growing, lacking progress. Seems like you're spinning your wheels. You're not going forward. And then if you're too into your masculine, then this is avoiding accountability. It's you're corrupt, you're dishonest, right? Those are all signs that the Emperor in reverse, right? And the Empress in reverse. So, yeah. So you want these two working together with Chiron. So you want to be digging up, like, right, what those wounds are around relationship. And your relationships are going to bring up this wound. So, right, it could be self-worth issues, right? I can't stand up for myself. I don't say what I need and want, right? Things like that. I don't even state an opinion at all, right? I let my partner railroad all over me, right? Things like that. Or vice versa. It's like, I don't take care of myself. I rely on the other person to take care of me and nurture me, right? So remember, it's all about coming into balance. And then the animal here is oyster. That's water, right? It's the element of water. So oyster or clam, and that goes with the 42. So this is patient, secret keeper, hiding inner treasures. There's inner treasures here. So the focus and determination of the oyster is unmatched. Anything an oyster personality puts their mind to, they achieve with grace and charm. The only problem is oyster types often take their inner gifts for granted. They become shy or doubtful, and this can lead to withdrawing or protecting their deepest desires in life's work. When the oyster appears, it's important to reveal your inner treasures. What is it you've been hesitant to share? The world is waiting to see, right? So I would go and look at your Chiron natally in your chart. This is the wounded healer, something that you're here to share, an inner gift that you're here to share. And it may seem way out of the realm of possibility, right? Because it's the wounded healer. How could I do that? I can't do that. I'm so wounded in that area. That's a big sign that this is what you're here to share, right? So when you're in balance, you share that. You feel generous. You're masterful. When out of balance, you're reluctant. You're gripping, holding on, right? Holding on to these relationships that are not healthy for you, for example. Or you clam up. You don't speak. You don't share. So to bring it into balance is to share something. Right? Kind of force yourself to share something to activate these two. Okay, so oppositions are going to be confrontations in your relationship. So you want to be smart. You don't want to rail against it. You want to see this confrontation as a message, right? There's a message coming through to something that I need to learn about myself, and so that I can let go, right? The vulture. So I can let go of this. I can let go of this karmic cycle, right? But I need to reflect, right? And remember, over here is Chiron. That's happy. That's celebration. That's celebration, right? It's to move into this energy here. Okay. So let me see the comments. I didn't think I'd go this long. God, 51 minutes already. 51, 57. Okay. So let's do comments here. Okay. Yeah, Jennifer, look at the animals. That's a good. Yes, that's a good point, Enoch. There's been a lot of solar flare activity too. That adds to the intensity, but it's all working for us in our healing right now, and it's all about letting go of this not self. Okay. 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 Yeah, it's just about letting go right now, but the magic is the silence. Because you can see, look at what the words we use, right? Pay attention. Pay attention. Everything is vying for our attention, right? Especially on social media, keeping us distracted, right? So this week, you want to be silent. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just do a quick message, like just with one card for each type. We'll see here. Okay. Well, let's start off with the twin flame. Okay. And so you'll notice that I have to edit the twin flame section out in my other video. But I'm doing that because when a twin flame gets activated, it's waking them up. So, because I can't really find a solution out there in the external, like the Western world. So it puts them on down a rabbit hole, basically, to find the solution, because it grabs your attention, right? It grabs your attention. And so why I'm doing that is so that the twin flames will eventually maybe find human design. Maybe they don't know about human design or Kundalini yoga, right? That's why I'm doing that. It's like I'm leaving out breadcrumbs for them to find me. Okay. Isn't that interesting about parasites, eh, Enoch? I totally agree. Parasites can affect, it's a consciousness. And this is what we're letting go of, these parasites. So there's just a physical representation of parasites, but our greatest parasite is the not self. That's the parasite. That's our mind and our ego. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to pick an ego card. Yeah, I'm going to do an ego card for the twin flames. Because Chiron is activating the Four of Wands, which represents the twin flame, the divine masculine and the divine feminine energy. Okay. So right away, the one of the twin flames will represent the wounded feminine or the wounded masculine. Because remember that the connection happens to bring both parties into balance with themselves. And you bring the divine masculine and alchemy happens, right? That's what the 37 represents. Isn't that interesting? More synchronicities for us to look at. The moon is in the 37.2, right? Right here. And this is, it's the gift of tenderness and equality. Equality, right? It's the shadow of weakness. Tenderness and equality. And what does this mean? What's the tenderness? It's when the masculine energy within you comes together with your feminine energy. This is like your healed masculine and healed feminine energy come together and they conceive. There's a conception that takes place within you. That's the alchemy. And what comes out of you is the divine child, or Christ consciousness, you could call it too. And that's what's born. And that's the heart opening, right? The sacred heart starts to open. So that's another part that I see the twin flames doing, right? Is activating that sacred heart and Christ consciousness. But these two have to come together in balance. So let's see what ego is dropping for the chaser. Okay. And then let's do that again. Okay. What's the ego dynamic that's dropping for the chaser? What about the runner? What about the runner? Way too many. Okay, what's the ego? Okay, this opposition for the chaser. There we go. And what about the runner? Okay. So for the chaser, we have depression. And then for the runner, we have what would other people think? Okay. For this. Right? So this energy twin flames is really about breaking out of not self, breaking out of ego, breaking out of these old identities that are not you. Right? So remember, as twin flames, it's the same soul activated. And it gets activated because the soul recognizes itself. Right? So that means that you come into truth. Right? This is the game plan, is to come into truth. But you both have these egos. And that's what's different about you, are these egos. And these egos are what has to go. This is the not self. This is what the not self is. That's why it creates so much chaos, right? In terms of each party, it can create a lot of chaos. And the chaos is the purging. Everything has to be purged that's not self within you. So you got Chiron and Venus there during this opposition. So this is going to really activate some old stuff that has to come up, and even maybe past life stuff too, right? So often twin flames have spent past lives together too, so that has to come up. And the beauty of it doesn't have to come up. You don't have to be together, like physically in the 3D realm, for this to happen, because it's all happening at the energetic level, right? In the twin flame connection. So let's look at the chaser first, which is depression. It's depression right here coming up to be released. So this is stuck in a rut. It's a loss, some kind of loss that you haven't gotten over. Maybe a loss from childhood, right? So right away we're looking at, like, maybe you've got abandonment issues, chaser. You got abandonment issues, rejection issues. You connect with your twin flame, and of course you separate because that's part of the process, right? And this can bring up abandonment and rejection. Now, did the twin flame create that? It's because they left. That's why I'm feeling depressed and I feel abandoned. I feel rejected. No. You had this inside you already. You had these issues inside you already where you felt abandoned, where you felt rejected. But no one was able to really trigger it until you met your twin flame. And then they triggered it. Because remember, they're the magnification, a million times magnification of you. Your mirrors for one another. So then this comes up for the chaser. This is coming up for the chaser. So it's Chiron, right? It's going to be really, really deep. Deep, deep, deep wounding. So you can feel exhausted here with depression. And you can fear freedom. You can fear the next step with this ego. So this is an ego identity that's connected to depression. So right away, you never want to say, like, I am depressed, right? I suffer from depression. You've got to really watch your language. Look at it like depression is moving through me right now. Depression is moving through me right now. It's just like a weather pattern that's moving through me. Because remember, you're purging with this opposition. You're purging what's not you. And you're not depressed. You don't need to identify with it or go to a support group about it. It's like it's just something that's moving through you. And the other thing I would say too, because you're dealing with a lot of anger and resentment, all of us, we've got Mars is squaring the nodes of the moon. It's going to bring up buried anger, buried resentment. Well, if you never learn to express your anger in a healthy way, then it's going to come back to the self, right? So you turn it back on yourself, and that's when it turns into depression. So this is what's being released. So what I would say here is like breath work, right? Do a Kundalini yoga meditation. There's lots of breath work, pranayama, breath of fire, all kinds of stuff you can do to release this anger, to release this depression. And don't let the ego and the not self get in there, right? Oh, I'm depressed because, you know, if you're a twin flame and you're not bringing it back to yourself, then your ego's got you focused on them and it's all about them. I wouldn't be depressed if they were here, and that's not true, right? They're a catalyst for you to do that inner work. Okay, so that's the chaser, and then the runner is what would other people think? It's fear of what other people think. And this is self node 18. The node, right? Mars is activating the self node 18. That's judgment, right? I'm fearing other people's judgment of me. Right? What would my family and friends and my community think if I actually, right? Because look at the energy that you're in, runners. I doubt a runner is watching this, but maybe they are, is the karmic. Maybe your karmic relationships or karmic cycles are ending. So this is not just your romantic partner. It could be your friends and your family, your community. Some kind of karmic lesson is being learned. The Wheel of Fortune is moving you forward. It's moving you to a new chapter, right? The self node is the 18. This is the judgment, right? The judgment, letting that go, letting that go. But what would other people think, right, of this, that I cut particular people out of my life. Maybe I cut my partner out of my life, that I finally separate. I finally look at the expiry date and say, this is expired a long time ago because I want this. I want the Four of Wands. I want the divine counterpart on the other side here, right? But here I'm sticking with this relationship. What would other people think if I did that? They'd think I was a horrible person. The tribe, right? This is who you're worried about is the tribe. The tribe, what would they think? I'm going to feel ashamed, right? I'm going to feel guilty. That's how the tribe controls people, through shame and guilt. You know, the cross of sleeping phoenix is self first. Runners, it's putting yourself first, and that means your soul goes first, and you need to be okay with that, right? Life's too short to stay in these karmic relationships, especially if you've already learned your lesson. If you're trying to cling on, right, trying to cling This is the not self-spleen here. It's clinging to relationships that are long over, right? What will happen is it gets worse and worse and worse. And that's the 2x4 method of learning, right? Life just starts pummeling you. When are you going to get it? When are you going to leave, right? When are you going to leave? When are you going to get the self-esteem and the self-love, the Empress energy, to stand up for yourself, the Emperor, right? And go for your happiness. The Four of Wands is happiness. So fear of judgment, fear of rejection, and it's really all coming from you. That's the joke. That's the joke, right? All this fear of judgment and what other people will think if I followed my intuition and my heart and I did something completely radical. I broke a taboo. Well, the joke is that judgment is not really about them. It's about you. It's your own judgment that you're projecting out, right? And remember, it's the second line, 32.2. Judgment, right? It's my own judgment that I'm projecting onto others. Yeah. And to watch this, that all my partners got all the resources that's being projected out and I'm safe and there's security there, right? It's time to really step into your power. That's what I see there for this twin flame. Okay. The best thing you can do for the planet is to put yourself first, right? It's not selfish. You're putting your soul first. It's selfish to stay in these karmic relationships because you put your little s self first. That means you put your ego first. You're not putting your soul first. That's the true meaning of selfishness right there. You're putting your ego first. You're using that other person, right? You're not whole on to yourself. That's the other side here. So that's what I would say is dig up these relationship wounds. It's 444. That's fun. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay. And let's go for the generators. Generator. So we're talking about this Venus opposite Chiron. Confrontations are coming for relationships to bring you into truth, basically. So be sure to watch the beginning to learn more about this. Okay. Let's see what we have for our generator friends. Okay. What's the ego that the generator is letting go of for this transit? What's the ego that the generator is letting go of for this transit? For our generator friends. We just have to ground. The energy is like crazy. Ground. So we ground with our breath. Long, deep breathing. There we go. Okay. So there's the generator. Is the be afraid. Be afraid. Be afraid. So if you're not in this energy generator of the Four of Swords, right, which is about you stopping and reflecting, go inside in solitude, be by yourself, turn off your social media, turn off your phone, turn off all distractions and go inside. That's what this energy is telling you to do, right? And so what the ego is telling you, which will try to stop you from doing this, right, is be afraid. Be afraid. So you can see this on the news and mainstream media, right? It's all about fear, right? Things to be afraid of. Because we're letting go of old tribal consciousness. That's mainstream news. If you want to know about tribal consciousness, look there, right? So it's all about keeping people in fear. And when people are in fear, they are disconnected from their souls. They're disconnected from their intuition. They're disconnected from their knowingness. And then they can be controlled and manipulated, right? It's that trauma-based mind control, right? What can we make people afraid of? And then we can control them. So ego, this is all about the ego, right? So the ego is pointing to everything to be afraid of. There's no trust in the divine with this. So this is an ego pattern for you to let go of, because maybe you're projecting this fear onto your partner, and they have the resources. This partner has the resources, right? Because this is the 42.2. They have the resources, and right? It's a projection. They've got the resources. I'm going to stick with them, right? And promise that I'll get rid of this fear, because the 32 is all about fear. Fear of failure. And the failure is I won't survive, so I need money. 32 represents money. So there can be this thing that's happening, this dynamic with Venus and Chiron. And the Chiron wound here is I can't take care of myself. I can't take care of myself, right? There's the Empress and the Emperor that connect with the, correlate to the Four of Wands here. I can't take care of myself. My divine masculine is wounded, right? That's Chiron and Aries. My divine masculine is wounded, so I'm dependent on another person because I'm in fear. I fear that I can't survive on my own, that I'll fail, right? That 32, that I'll fail. So it's to let this, right? Because this Wheel of Fortune right here, this is the karmic wheel, it's moving and it's going towards your fortune, your benefit. And the Justice card are these karmic contracts are coming to a close, right? These soulmate karmic contracts are coming to a close. So as that's happening, it can bring up this fear, right? And the fear is I can't survive unless I'm in a relationship. And so what to do, not to do, is run out and be a serial monogamist. What to do is to take some time to integrate your own wounded divine masculine and your wounded feminine energy, right? To use that for this time. So what I'm saying to all the types is that this is really about you, but your relationship is going to play the part of a mirror, a powerful mirror this week to show you what needs to be integrated within you. Because the game, the goal here with the cross of sleeping phoenix, right, is to be whole unto yourself, whole unto yourself, whole unto yourself, right there, right? It's completely moving away from an old relationship paradigm of bargain. You do this for me, I do this for you. That's not going to work anymore, right? It's not going to work anymore. So deal with fear, and how you deal with fear is you have to look at fear as just, it's a frequency in your body, generators. And so you use breath. Breath is the easiest way to move through fear, but you keep your ego out of it. You keep the ego out of it because the ego wants to get in there and make up a story about why you're feeling fear. When we're purging, we're going through a huge purging process right now. So you're purging up some old fear, right? So that's all it is. Stay neutral. That's the 42. The gift of 42 is detachment. It's the detachment. It's to detach. I'm detaching, right, from this. So I'm neutral. I'm just letting this frequency move through me, this fear. I'm not going into a story because the ego will make up lots of horror stories of what will happen to you if you leave this relationship. We won't survive, right? You won't be able to nurture yourself, take care of yourself, or you won't be able to take care of yourself financially or materially. And that's not true, right? Okay. And remember that it's the gift of preservation. So it's a time like to reflect on your values, what you value. In this time in your relationship's going to show you like, oh, I don't share values with my partner. I don't share the same values with my community and my friendships, my work colleagues, whatever it is, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay, so that's the generators. And then let's move on to the manifesting generators. Let's move on to the manifesting generators. So manifesting generators, this is about the Venus opposition to Chiron tomorrow. Okay, and so listen to the beginning of the video to learn more about the transits. Chiron is activating the 42.2 and Venus is activating the 32.2. And this is all about fear of the material. So the main message here for everyone is to go into that Four of Swords energy. That correlates to Venus in the 32.2. And that's to reflect. So take some time for solitude and to be silent. So not distracted, turning off your phone, removing yourself from people. It's a good idea this week anyway. So that you can listen to your intuition. Right? Because karmic relationships are ending. That Justice and Wheel of Fortune card. Okay. And you're looking at who and what you're bringing on the next leg of the journey. Something's coming to a close for all of us. Okay. Okay. We're looking at the manifesting generators and the ego. So the 32 represents fear of failure, right? Venus is in there in the 32.2. And this is, of all the numbers, the 64, the 32 represents money. So it's the fear of survival. Has to be let go of, right? Okay. So what do we have for the manifesting generators? What ego are they? Okay, let's do another one. What goes with this one? What goes with narcissism? The MG's got 3. They always get more than one, I think, eh? So anger, you got the anger card. So that goes with the, listen to the generator too, because I talked about anger. The need to win, competition, and the narcissism card. So your karmic connection here with Justice, right? So Venus is opposing Chiron, so oppositions mean confrontation. Confrontation, and this means that something old has to go. Something old has to go. An old relationship dynamic has to go. Or within your this could be your, not just your partner, but your family, your friends, your work colleagues. Some dynamic has to go that you've been holding on to. And so just because the Justice card is here, this is karmic. This is a karmic soulmate right here. And Wheel of Fortune means you have no control over it. That wheel is moving. That wheel is moving. And what it's doing, it's ripping up these old karmic contracts that you've had with these people. And so this is one with a narcissist. That's what I see here. Okay? So it's with a narcissist. So narcissism is really a mental illness that comes from the ego. It's really an egoic thing. It's so extreme, right? When we meet a narcissist, so that we can see our own ego, actually, right? So remember that the relationship is a mirror. This week, the mirror is going to be really amplified. And why? So that you can see your own dynamics, right? So that's my advice to you, is like whatever you see this week, whatever comes up, it's going to be very emotional. It's going to be very volatile this week. We're kind of in the calm before the storm here on Sunday, but it's going to start really ripping. The storm's going to really start ripping, right? So remember to there's the message of the Mars, if you watch my last video, is in 52, which is restraint, right? And that's squaring the nodes of the moon, the karmic axis. And then we've got the 4 of Swords here, right? And the 32.2 here. And this is also restraint. It's also restraint, right? So it's like to take it back in, not to be railing against it, right? So just quickly, right? The narcissist is the one that, it's the ego. If you look at it like at the ego, it makes no effort, right? People should do everything for me. Entitled, right? Can feel entitled. Denies the existence of others. That's what a narcissist does. So the narcissist, right? Ego sees people either as an ally. You're helping me to get what I want, my desires, or you're a threat. And this means you're an obstacle to getting what I want. That's how the narcissist looks at people. And people are just like a cardboard cutout. There's no compassion and there's no empathy. You're either here to help me or you're a threat. That's the way they see the world. So there can be an overvalue of self with a narcissist, overvaluing their self, right? So maybe you've been in this karmic connection with this narcissist, but you haven't seen it, right? And the thing is, when the karmic contract gets ripped up spiritually, then the lights come on. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that I didn't see this dynamic before. I was making excuses for it. I thought it was this. I thought it was that. Oh, they were really confident and charismatic and, right? Have all the words that used to describe them. And now it's like, oh my God, they're a narcissist, right? I've been in a relationship with a narcissist, playing this game and feeling so low about myself. But remember, it served your ego too. If you're with a narcissist, then you have an ego too. But your ego is small. Do you know what I mean? So your ego, the other narcissist ego, is like me, bombastic. Listen to me. It's all about me and my stuff, right? And then you're silent, right? Behind the scenes, you're silent, blah, blah, blah. Well, the payoff here is that you listen to the ego that keeps you small, keeps you hidden, keeps you silent. Remember, you got the oyster on the other side, MG. This is hiding your gifts, your inner gifts. Staying quiet, staying silent. Well, Venus is opposing Chiron, and it's like no more, because the emotions are going to start to come to the surface, and I can't play this game anymore. And as soon as you confront a narcissist and start standing up, they disappear, because you're just an object, right? You're just an object to a narcissist. And the narcissist goes to this too. So you've got to watch this. Ego coming up is needing to win. So this would be like competitive. Maybe this ego is like, I got to win. I've got to win with this narcissist. You're never going to win with a narcissist. You're never going to change the narcissist. Remember the 18 in the South Node, the zealot. Watch my last video. This is obsessed with trying to fix someone, trying to fix the other person, trying to fix yourself, trying to be perfect for the other person, right? I think the MG's got that, right? You got the unicorn, the rhino on the treadmill with the unicorn, the perfectionism. I'm pretty sure you got that. So this is another way to look at this message, right? So not to listen to your ego. I've got to get back at that narcissist because I'm angry. Right? There it is. I'm angry. I'm angry at that narcissist for treating me like this for all these years and getting away with it. Right? But really, are you angry at the narcissist? No, you're angry at yourself, right? You're angry at yourself for letting someone step all over your boundaries, for someone treating you like crap. You let yourself be treated like crap for so many years, right? So you want to bring all this back inside, right? It takes two to slam dance. It's like, what was my part in the slam dance? Oh, I listened to that little ego. That ego that was telling me to be little and small, to hide. That ego that was telling me to hide, to be the oyster, right? To hide away. And now you've got the vulture coming in, right? Listen to the other part. The vulture is coming in to purify, get rid of all of this dead dynamics. Like, I'm not playing. And then you stop attracting narcissists into your life, right? So I would even go back even further to your childhood. If you're with a narcissist partner, then you had a narcissist as a mother or father, right? So I would go way back there. Because the karmic soulmate, this justice card, they're here to teach you a lesson. That's it. They're here to teach you a very important spiritual lesson. So you don't want to be clinging, right? Clinging onto this. Listening to the ego, I need to get back at them. It's like, no, just get the lesson. What's my lesson? Well, maybe it's about self-worth. I got that lesson, that I have something worthy to share, the oyster, with the world. I'm not going to hold myself back anymore, right? Could be that. Because what's on the other side for you, this is the twin flame card. The twin flame card. This is the Four of Wands. This is where I belong, where I feel I'm on my fractal line. I'm with my soul community, right? I'm with friends that, and remember what I talked about with the 144,000 templates. That's the fractal lines, that your family of origin could not be on a different fractal line than you. This is feeling at home. I finally feel like I'm at home. I feel like I belong. That's the 17 North Node, right? I feel like I belong. But what you're embracing here is the divine feminine and divine masculine within yourself. So you're bringing these two into balance. So maybe with a narcissist, you're saying you're standing up for yourself. That's the divine masculine. I'm speaking up for myself. I have self-worth. That's the Empress energy, right? These two. I nurture. I love myself. No, I'm not going to be treated like this. And I've got my divine masculine to back me up, right? Do you see how they work? The masculine has to respond to the feminine. So if you really love yourself and value yourself, then your divine masculine within yourself will protect yourself, right? And it's like, no, you can't speak to me like this anymore. You can't treat me like this anymore. I'm out the door, right? Justice in the Wheel of Fortune. I'm out the door because I got the lesson. Thanks for the lesson. I'll see you later, right? And then you're out the door. This is the lunar eclipse energy. Yeah. So that's what I would say, MGs, is like this week is really going to show you where you're not loving yourself, where you're not speaking up for yourself. Well, that's all that's happening, right, with this energy here. Okay. Anything else for the MGs? No, that's it. Okay. Let's go to... Should we do the manifestors next? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a good idea to listen to all of them, you guys. But if they don't resonate with you, then always go to the reflector one. So manifestors, we're talking about the Venus opposing Chiron transit that's happening tomorrow. And remember, it's not like, oh, okay, it's over. Right? One day it's over. No, it's like the blast. The bomb goes off that day. That's how the transit works, but it ripples. And we got a 6-month ripple with the lunar eclipse. And we're kind of in the lunar eclipse energy now. We're building up to it, and that's what people are feeling. And the Venus opposed Chiron is part of that energy, and so is the Mars squaring the nodes. Okay. Okay. So we got the manifestors. Let's see what we got for the manifestors. Okay, what's the ego? The ego that the manifestor is letting go of for this transit. So you got the procrastinate card, right? We've all been here, eh? Laying on the couch, endless scrolling through the social media. Yeah. Okay, procrastinate. So the ego wants you to procrastinate. And I think I talked about this yesterday, just briefly, that procrastination, what's underneath procrastination is perfectionism. That's really what it's about. I have to be perfect. I have to be perfect. I have to do this job perfect. I got to get the A+. I have to be perfect in every way, according to the ego, right? And this goes with the 18, right? The self node in the 18. That's what this is about, right? It's about being perfect, but in a low frequency way, right? The 18. So it's filled with judgment. You're letting that go, manifestors, right? This judgment at self, at yourself, which is endless when you're looking at the ego. It's like endless. When you look at the ego person, not self, it's an endless road of improvement. That's the 18. It will never end. But if you go into the higher frequency of the 18, right, that you're perfect, it's your soul is perfect. Your soul is perfect. You don't need to improve the soul. It's perfect. It has integrity. That's the gift of the 18. It has integrity. Okay, so I would say to look at this, where in your relationships is this playing out, where you have this belief that you have to be perfect in relationship, and it's making you procrastinate. So maybe you have a confrontation. Maybe you have a confrontation that's due in your relationship with your partner, your child, your community, friends, a workplace person, some other person. Maybe there's a confrontation that's coming. And maybe you've got this solar plexus that's open. Maybe it's open for you as a manifestor. The not self here is avoiding confrontation and truth with an open solar plexus. This would leave the procrastination too. I don't want to deal with this. Well, good luck with that this week, because you're going to be forced to deal with it. The energy is forcing you to deal with it, whatever you've been procrastinating on, right? So you're avoiding challenges here. You're putting it off. And yada. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. I'll do that tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes, right? And what the ego is telling you, oh, it's safe, right? It's safe for you to, wait this out. Make a decision later. And you're a manifester. And right away with this energy, this is not self. It's like you're pretending that you're a generator. I'm manana. I'm waiting for something to respond to, right? And that's not you, right? So procrastination, maybe you got a divine download, right? You got the info. It's coming to you, right? But you're not sharing. You're not informing with others, right? You're not doing your strategy and authority. And of course, you start to feel anger, which can be depression too. Right? And then you're procrastinating. So let's look at this energy here, because, look at that Four of Swords, you may say, Michael. That's procrastination. She's just lying on the bed with her swords up. No, this is different than procrastination. This is like, I'm busy with the mind. Do you see how that's not that's procrastination? I'm scrolling up and down on my phone. I'm distracted. There's no phone here. They have their hands like this, right? Hands are in prayer pose, right there. They're deep in meditation, deep in reflection. This is like I'm in my mind. I'm busy, busy, busy within my mind. So the energy here is telling you to be self-reflect, to go deep inside and to listen, right? To that divine download that's trying to get to you. And then you go and you share, right? Because things are moving. Karma is coming to a close, especially within your relationships. That wheel of fortune is moving you forward, right? So this isn't the time to be to procrastinate. And you're going to start to feel pressure. This is for everybody. When you're not moving forward in your life, you'll start to feel a pressure. And this pressure is pushing you. It's like an impulse of the soul, pushing you to move forward in your life, So again, it's about trusting your divine feminine and divine masculine energy on the other side, right? And wherever that's out of balance, wherever you're wounded in that area, I can't procrastinate because I have this perfectionism trip. I feel like I need to be perfect. Well, when you're in this space, like where did I get that message that I'm not good enough, that I'm not perfect as I am? Who gave me that message? It's going to be within your relationships. Where do I still get that message back, reflected back to me that I'm not perfect, that I'm not good enough, right? You want to dig that out. Right? You're digging out all the wounds that are keeping you from really stepping into your power as a manifestor. What else? But again, it's about your relationships. So it's not just your partnership, right? It could be your family. It could be a parent, a mother, father, your child, your partner, your community. Yeah. Okay. And to me, it's like the wound, like a wound. If you have a wound, sometimes it's better just to rip that bandage out rather than just like little like piecemeal. Sometimes it's best just to rip it off. And that's what this Venus and Chiron lunar eclipse is. It's like we're ripping the Band-Aid off. And it hurts. It hurts. Hurts more than this. But this just prolongs it. It's procrastination. But when you rip it off, yeah, it's going to hurt for a while. For a week, 2 weeks or whatever. But then you're going to feel way better because you're going to be in truth. Okay. Okay, so no more procrastinating for those manifestors. Okay, where are we now? Projectors. Okay. So projectors. We're talking about this Venus opposition to Chiron. Direct opposition as of tomorrow. And it's going to bring up a lot of relationship confrontations because it's an opposition. Where you don't share the same values, right? Venus with people. And where you have wounding around bonding with others, Chiron. Where you have wounding around asserting yourself, right? Your divine masculine, that Emperor card. Where you have wounding around nurturing yourself. To look at that. Okay. And remember these karmic relationships, that Justice card, they're coming to an end. The contracts are ending. The Wheel of Fortune's moving forward. And there you've got the Vulture coming in. Right? To pick out the dead, what's dead in your life. Well, listen to the beginning of my video to learn more about the oyster and the vulture and all that. Okay. So 32. Venus is activating the 32nd gate, and that's all about money. 32 represents money, and it's the fear of failure that I won't survive unless I have money, and lots of it. Okay. So what's the ego that the projector is letting go of? What's the ego that the projector is letting go of? Okay. The give up. Give up. It's hopeless. There's no hope. Just give up. Imagine if I came on and said that message to everybody. Oh, just give up. It's hopeless. Can't imagine. Okay, so for the projector, it's don't give up. Don't give up. This is the Nine of Wands energy in tarot. Don't give up, right? So you're almost there. This is about perseverance. So if you've got the, just as a side note, if you've got the 38, do you have the 38? Right? This is, or the 3828, that's a channel of struggle. Right? If you have this defined, you're made. You're made for this, right? You're made for struggle. You're made for the challenge, right? You're made for the challenge. And if you're a Kundalini yogi, then you're made for the challenge, right? Especially if you've gone through Kundalini yoga teacher training. You know what I'm talking about. Or you've gone to White Tantric yoga. You're up for the challenge. So this is like the don't give up. Don't give up. Do you know that when you're in, just for the yogis that have gone to White Tantric yoga will know what I mean. Right? When your arms are up in the air and you like, just, you know, and the hour's coming up to a close, like for just one of the segments of White Tantric yoga. And it's just, you want to give up. You want to give up. The ego is like, put down your hand, put down your arms. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. But you draw upon that strength. And what are you drawing upon? Like, where's that strength coming from? It's not coming from the muscles in your arms. It's coming from the deep, deep strength of your soul, right? So White Tantric Yoga is a whole technology to release subconscious patterns, basically, for the people who don't know. But the people that know will know exactly what I'm talking about, right? But this is what you have to draw your strength from, is your soul, right? And so it's a metaphor for life, right? That's the great thing. If you've done White Tantric yoga, you can always go back to like, oh yeah, I did that for like, you know, because you do it in summer solstice, you would do it like 3 days in a row. I did like 24 hours of that, like pain. I can handle anything. I can handle anything. That's one of the many gifts of White Tantric yoga. To persevere, to persevere. And if you're a Kundalini yogi, you know what I'm talking about. It's the sword. Like really, like as an archetype, like you grab your sword, that's the sword of truth. I can move through these times, right? I'm moving through these times. So the ego is saying to give up. There's no use. Nothing's getting better. The invitations aren't coming. Partnerships are like, nobody comes through for me. Right? Nobody's here for me. Maybe you're feeling isolated and alone as a projector. And the thing is, we can't, as projectors, you can go into a fantasy of the ego. It's like, well, I'm just going to isolate and kick back and not do it, not help anybody. But it goes against your nature. It completely goes against your nature, because we're here for the other. We're the new leaders of the Aquarian age. I'm saying we because I'm a projector too. Right? So it goes again, it won't work. It's just part of you. You can't run away from your projector type. It's just who you are. It's who you are. So this is like to not give up hope, not listen to the ego. And remember the lunar eclipse, right? The moon is activating the 36. That's the dark night of the soul. That's the dark night of the soul. We're about to go through a really dark time this week, right? So this is the message for you, projector, is don't give up. Don't listen to that nasty white worm tongue ego, right? Telling you to give up, that it's hopeless. It's never going to get better, right? It's never going to get better. So it's also saying that this message is you're coming close to a victory, right? Here. And so it's going to bring up this stuff. So maybe it will bring up, like we're looking at Chiron. We're looking at your divine masculine. We're looking at your divine feminine energy. Maybe it will bring up like issues around rejection or abandonment. As a projector, I feel abandoned. I feel rejected. By another person? No, by the divine. That's what it's really about. Our relationships are just a reflection of our relationship with our own divinity. So whatever you're experiencing in your relationships, oh, I'm feeling abandoned by my relationships. I'm feeling rejected by my relationships. These invitations are low quality. No one really sees me. I'm invisible. Will you bring it back to yourself? There's a part of you that's rejecting the divine. There's a part of you that's abandoning yourself, abandoning the divine, right? You're not showing up for yourself, right? You're not in your divine masculine energy. You're not showing up as yourself. You're not nurturing, taking care of yourself, right? To look at it like that. So all these deep woundings are going to start to come up this week for the projectors, because you got to get strong, right? For this time that we're entering into, you got to get really, really strong. You think this is heavy. This is just a warm-up lap for what's coming in the future. So you have to get strong. And strong means you're strong in yourself. You're not depending and leaning on other people for your strength, right? You got to lean on yourself. Self-reliant, right? You have to be strong for the other types. They're going to be looking to you, right? For your strength, for your guidance. Yeah. So persevere. That's the message, is persevere. And the karmic cycle is coming to an end. If you have karmic relationships in your life, maybe a soulmate karma came into your life to rock, right? Rock the not self within you. Awake, right? To bring up this stuff to purge. Maybe you don't value yourself as a projector, right? Maybe you don't see your worth as a projector, because we're talking about money, right? The 32, fear of failure. And all this stuff has come up, right? But what it's saying is these karmic relationships that you've been in are coming to a close. Maybe you've been in this cycle for a while, right? Meaning karmic relationship after karmic relationship. When am I going to meet someone on my fractal? Right? Persevere, have hope, right? I'm done with these karmics. But they have served a purpose, because these karmics have come to teach you a lesson, right? As a lesson. Okay. Anything else for the projectors? Yeah. Okay, go watch the beginning of the video too, right, to learn more. And let's finish it off with the reflector, which is kind of all of them, the wrap up. And please let us know if you're a reflector. Everybody wants to know, not just me. Okay? So the reflector. So it's all about our relationships, reflectors. And so this is the Chiron Venus opposition. And this is a special live stream, right? I don't usually do live streams on Sundays, but it's just so intense this week. I have the 3955, the channel of emoting. So looking at the weather and the patterns, it's like, yeah, I'm going to be under my wave. I'm going to be under the covers, under my wave, my emotional wave. So, but I'll be back on Friday for sure. Because we're gonna be, like, mark my words, like, we're feeling good now because Jupiter is trining Venus, but we're in the calm before the storm, and then exhaustion will come, right? When that moon enters Pisces, exhaustion will come. The need to isolate. You want to make sure that you don't. The ego is going to tell you to go drink alcohol. Neptune rules alcohol and escapism. You want to use that energy to meditate, like go into the Four Swords energy, right? Epsom salt baths, out in nature, be alone in solitude, listening to your soul. Okay. Don't expect people to be all social and flitting around. People are going to feel this energy, especially the people with mental health issues. That's really going to come to the surface this week. Okay, so what do we have for the reflectors and like the epilogue? Okay. No coincidence here. Okay. The money temptation. I'm shocked. I'm totally shocked to see this. I'm being facetious, right? There, money temptation. You see the mousetrap and the big $20 in there. Okay, so that makes so much sense, eh? So this is for the reflectors, but it's also kind of the epilogue for all the rest of the types. So if you're coming here because it's like, oh, he wasn't really grooving with the MG or the G or the projector, but this will probably you'll groove with. Okay, so money temptation. Okay, so we've got reflectors. We've got the 32, right? This is coming off the spleen. And all of these numbers are fears. And this is a fear of failure. And this goes deep, right? This is an ancient awareness system, is our splenic awareness system. So this is fear of failure. And fear of failure is I'm not going to survive. So what we've done as a humanity is we projected this fear, because something has to hold this fear on the planet. That's money and coins, right? Money and coins. And now digital numbers in your bank account or whatever, right? This is holding the fear of failure right here. And the fear of failure is I won't survive. So you have to remember we're moving more and more into the cross of the sleeping phoenix, and your survival is going to be completely different, right? Because it's not activated here, but the 3420, that's a big part of, and then the 59 and the 55. Those are the major themes in the cross of the sleeping phoenix. And the 3420 is telling us this is individual. This is an individual. So it's empowerment, right? I'm empowered when I'm in the now, doing what I love. I'm passionate about what I'm doing in the now, present now moment. And this ensures my survival, right? So it's completely different than this 32. This is the old way. With the tribe, I have to conserve my resources. I have to make sure that I have enough resources before I go on the next leg of my journey. This is completely, right, dissolving. Now it's about, in the now, present now moment, being my authentic self. That's the 3420. Being my authentic self. Being in my soul, right? Being in my soul. Then I survive. I'm guaranteed my survival here. Not this other way, right? That's the tribal way. So the money temptation that fits with the 32. So here we are in our relationships, right? And we have Venus opposing Chiron. So our deep, deep wounding about being our authentic self. I don't even know who I am. Right? Aries, Chiron and Aries. I have a deep wounding around my identity. I have a deep wounding around that divine masculine, the emperor. I can't stand up for myself. I can't assert myself. I can't take care of myself on the material realm. I can't. All that stuff's going to come up, right? It's going to come up here. So the money trap is staying in relationships that promise money, right? Promise material resources. That's the 42.2. 42.2 is I'm projecting outward that I have all the resources, which may or may not be true, right? But this is what you're going to see with people. So you don't want to be running and hitching your wagon to them, right? When it's not correct for you. So this is choosing relationships out of fear. And this isn't real. It's not real. Maybe you're staying, you're clinging, right? The spleen. I'm clinging to this relationship because they have the money. They have the house. They've got all the resources. I'll be safe there. I'll be safe there. This is you listening to the ego, not self, right? This is the money temptation. So this is a promise of false security through money. We don't even know what the exchange of goods and services will look like. We don't even know if money will exist anymore. We don't know. To put all your energy and power into like a physical thing on the external, like a little piece of paper, we're seeing the devaluing of that little piece of paper. That little piece of paper doesn't get you the same goods and services it used to, right? We don't know. We have to go into the unknown. We're moving into the unknown. So this is anything, like giving your power over to anything on the external, and that includes a relationship and a person, right? So this is a big spiritual test. This one is a big spiritual test. This is second chakra, right? This is what brings down relationships. Second chakra, sex and money. Those are the big arguments in relationships, right? Romantic relationships. They're arguing about sex or money. Those two, that's second chakra, right? So this is a big spiritual test. Am I going to stay in this karmic relationship because they're projecting that they have all the money? And I'm so wounded in my divine masculine and divine feminine energy. I don't love myself. I don't stand up for myself. I don't value myself. I don't see that I have any self-worth on this planet, right? It's going to bring up all this wounding with this karmic relationships that's coming to an end with that Wheel of Fortune. That's your big spiritual test, right? That's the money temptation. Am I going to choose fear or love, right? Fear or love. And this is not emotional love. This is unconditional love. And unconditional love starts with you, with that Empress energy. I'm going to love myself. And then my divine masculine is going to respond to that energy, which I'll stand up for myself and I'll set boundaries for myself. I'll go out and take care of myself. I'll get the resources that I need with my divine masculine, but it's going to come from my divine feminine. So this is your big test, reflectors and the other types that are listening to this. So you want to choose love, right? You want to choose love. This is not the time to be choosing fear. This is your ancestors. This is very ancestral, this 32. Very ancestral, right? It's a different world now. Not the same world that our ancestors lived in. It's completely different lessons now. So you want to follow your intuition and your heart and money will follow. You want to follow your passions, the 3420. Start to embrace this energy now, right? 2027 is not that far away. And have faith in the divine, not the promise of security on the external, right? That's the devil energy in the tarot, the total devil energy in the tarot. Here, I promise this. We're going to see this. We promise universal basic income. Here you go. Free money. Nothing's free. You have to give something up, right? That's the bargain. You got to give up your freedom, your self-sovereignty. You got to give up this divine masculine and feminine energy. You got to give up your faith in the divine, right? That's the money temptation. We all have to like jump through that fiery hoop on the spiritual path. So to let it go, and I know how scary it is. I'm not speaking from up in an ivory tower, privileged person, not me. I've been through it and I've got many, many stories to share. I've been tested through and through around money. And I can testify, right? I can testify before the divine right now that the divine always comes through. Right? 100%. Always comes through. Always comes through. Listen to my words. I'm speaking from experience. Always comes through. So don't fall for this. This takes down so many people. Reflectors and other types, it takes down so many people, is this money. Takes them off the spiritual path, right? So you want to change your priority. Soul first. My soul first. That's what I value the most, is my soul first, right? And then everything chases me, right? That's the Empress energy. And then everything chases that. Soul first. Because this is where everything comes from. Everything comes from. Those little pieces of paper come from. The coins come from. Whatever comes into the future, whatever that looks like, this is where it comes from. So go to the source. Go to your source. Okay? Anything else for the reflectors here? No. And we're in the contraction energy, right? Pluto's in Capricorn until November. So we're going to see a lot of these shenanigans start to come out, these tests, right? For people. The spirits. The great harvest. 2 hours and 2 minutes. Oh, some of it was pre-roll though, right? Okay. Why you do? Okay, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed that, and please put a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I felt really called to do another live stream for people, and just have a really good week and really embrace that Four of Swords energy and the Mars restraint energy, just like going within, not biting the bait with other people, you know, in terms of confrontation, but also speak your truth. Don't be silent. Speak your truth. If things are coming up, it's like, I've been sitting on this for years and I need to say it to this person right now. I need to speak my truth, right? And then this is you practicing, because this is the new age, that new age false light teachings is like, just let, you know, the stoicism, right? I just have to sit back and I don't have to act or participate in my life, or that's not good, I shouldn't be angry. And it's like, that's all false light, right? If you're feeling angry and anger inside and you're feeling that call to speak, then that's the divine. That's the divine that wants to speak through you. And when you speak the truth, you serve everybody around you by speaking the truth, because it puts them in truth, in the frequency of truth. So don't be afraid to speak your truth this week, right? In terms of your relationships. Because you want these karmic relationships to be done. I'm done with these karmic relationships. I'm ready to embrace this Four of Wands energy and to be on my fractal line. That's where I want to be. Okay, everybody. So I will see you. And remember, you can follow me on Telegram. I'm on Telegram every day, and on Instagram every day, and YouTube every day. Okay, and yeah, leave your comments below, especially if you're watching the replay or whatever, and how you're doing and all that other stuff. Okay? So take care, everybody. And I'll see you definitely on Friday, and then tomorrow with my daily posts. Okay? Okay. Sat Nam Aloha, everybody. Bye-bye.